We're here at the Sundance Film Festival with the director and two stars of Afternoon Delight, director Jill Soloway, Katherine Hahn, and Juno Temple. Welcome.
Thank you. Also, please welcome the pillow that's covering my stomach.
Which is non-existent.
Because I want to be able to just kind of let it out. So, hello, pillow. Thanks for coming to the interview. Just in case anybody's like, what is that? That's why it's here.
A child.
Your film is about a Silver Lake mother who takes a stripper into her house. Mm-hmm. Tell us how this idea came about.
You know, I actually went to get a lap dance maybe a decade ago when it was sort of like a hipster thing to do. Like, hetero couples, after dinner, go out to a strip club. Like in LA, there's Jumbo's Clown Room or Sam's Hofbrau. It kind of became this kind of thing that you could do and that women could do, and they weren't really men-only spaces anymore. And I remember the first time I got a lap dance, I really thought that the stripper was in love with me. And I thought she needed me to come back and get her the next day. I felt guilty. I wanted to take care of her, and that feeling stuck with me, and I think that was the genesis for the movie.
Did you feel a little envious of her power or position as well?
Hot bod of the fact that she didn't need a pillow in front of her to...
Ridiculous.
And she wasn't like this the whole time when she was dancing.
That would be my lap dance.
Don't look at my body. There's actually a moment in the movie when she's getting a lap dance from her, and she's like, don't look at my stomach.
She starts to like lift up her shirt. I'm like, I had a baby. Had a baby, had a baby, had a baby. Cover it up, cover it up.
But that divide, I think, of what happens when you have a baby. All right, I just want to put it away. When you have a baby and the sexual part of you kind of maybe gets a little bit cut off because you're so busy being a mom. The movie's kind of about seeing that sexuality in another person and kind of going back to get it, to repair. It's like about the repairing the divided feminine, putting yourself back together under the guise of rescuing somebody who you think needs your help.
Juno, how did you prepare for this role? Did you have to work out a lot? Did you go to a lot of strip clubs?
Jill bought me a lap dance. That happened at Jumbo's Clown Room.
You did that at Jumbo's?
Yeah, and both of us got a lap dance, and I had the most amazing lap dance. This girl was beautiful and silent the entire time. It was all about eye contact, so that was a big thing to think about because that was something that deeply affected me. Jill also introduced me to an amazing woman who was a big inspiration for me, and I talked a lot with her. And also, it was an interesting one because, you know, like Rachel, the way Rachel reacts, it's like she thinks that McKenna needs to be rescued, but actually McKenna doesn't need to be rescued. McKenna's doing okay, so it's also because, as you know, getting into that line of work can be so scary and so heartbreaking and so damaging, but there are some young women that it's what they want to do. And so I think McKenna's very brave, and she enjoys what she does, and she's aware of the power she has. But I also had to say, I did take dance classes. I had an amazing dance teacher, Rie, who is in the movie on a pole. She's extraordinary. She's extraordinary. And she taught me a couple of really, really amazing dance routines. Mm-hmm. And then but it was an amazing experience shooting this movie because it's also about this girl who is a stripper coming into a home. And coming into a home in Silver Lake that has so much light, space, art, proper cutlery, and just so, you know, because she's children and a child. Yeah. And so it was a magic thing because we were, you know, at one point they come into my world and then I enter into their world. So it's about McKenna in these different worlds, right? And she likes both, but she can't quit her world. She can't do it. And I think that's a brave way to write a script, and I think that's what's so amazing about Afternoon Delight as a whole. It's very brave about what it is to be a woman. About, you know, sometimes it's so fantastic to be proud of your sexuality and use it, and just love everything that you have as a woman. And then the sadness that happens when you are a woman that is losing sight of that. And I think that's such a brave thing that you put on paper. And casting someone like Katherine, who is one of the most honest actresses you will ever see in a movie, truly, was stripped down bare and gave her soul to this part. So the combination of the two of you, it's just such a brave film about women. I really think so.
We're gonna make out real quick.
Yeah, do you guys mind? I'm gonna give her a lap dance. A mother of two lap
No,
dance.
it's true though. There was a lot of love here.
Yeah.
And one thing I just want to mention about what Juno was saying is that there's this really familiar trope in movies where the sex worker comes in and like the kid dies, or the kid gets in a car accident, or somebody dies. Something happens when somebody's sexual. Like, that's what the movies usually. That's the story that usually gets told. And I really wanted to tell the story that McKenna was going to get out alive, and that she wasn't there to cause damage. She was there to wake people up. But she wasn't in the movie to be sacrificed so that the quote unquote good people could
Learn how
move
to
on
have
without her.
Yeah, she
Could heal their marriage.
Yeah,
Or whatever.
She doesn't get sacrificed.
Why did you? Were you thinking of Catherine for this role?
I
or-
mean, sometimes I would watch her perform and I was like, I'm looking at Meryl Streep. I started calling her
God.
Dame Catherine Hahn because she is one of the best.
Sir Catherine Hahn.
She is now Sir John Gielgud Catherine Hahn all the time. That's what we call it. I mean, I was of course thinking about her the whole time, and then we had a Skype where we talked about it, and it's a slightly unlikable idea because the woman's wealthy and she does something kind of crazy. She kind of stalks somebody and she brings her into her house with her kid. But Catherine's warmth and her openness and she's so rootable and she's so lovable. It's sort of like you could make a movie about her going out and,
stabbing people,
which is my next film. It's going to be also Rachel, enlivened by having met a stripper, but
It's a
not
trilogy.
trilogy.
Something like this has not been asked of me as an actor, since I was probably a student.
She went
graduate
to
student.
Yale Drama School.
I don't know, maybe you've heard
She's
of it.
always liked being the funny one, but she's actually a brilliant actor.
It was, but the stepping into this, Juno was already attached to it. The script was, Rachel was like, oh my God, how, and it was hard for me. I didn't want to fall too in love with it because I didn't want it to not be mine, so I didn't know what quite to. So our Skype was my first Skype with her, and I was like, I could barely even speak because I just wanted it so badly, and it was, the environment that was created from the second we walked on, and from Jill to our amazing DP to Juno, like the bar was just immediately like, oh, this is what this can be. Because it could have been, we didn't quite know what it would reveal itself to be when we started this movie, and it was the environment was such that it was like everybody's bar just was raised to. We just asked so much of each other and ourselves. It was like a holy experience. Like it was really a blessed.
Did you have a lot
time.
of women working on the crew?
Yeah, the key grip was a woman. The focus puller was a woman. We had some Julie, Shelley. We had great women working on the movie.
Yeah.
There were women everywhere.
women everywhere, but then also very understanding men. Like everyone was so loving, and because we were asked to go to some pretty strange, intense, vulnerable places, and everyone was so respectful around you, and it was an amazing experience because when the camera was rolling, everyone in the room seemed to be in it with you.
And that's awesome.
And the
too.
camera would cut, and you forgot it was you were even shooting a movie. And there were moments that we discovered making this movie that we didn't think were the most emotional moment in the script. And bam, we shot it, and we ended up taking away scenes because there were certain moments that were palpable, and you were so amazing about that because you just took one look at it and you went, oh, right, we're done.
So flexible. Like she was able to be so open to what this movie became.
Yeah.
I mean, we would start days with we would all try to gather it in a way. Even the crew, she would ask the crew to kind of be on board with what we were doing. Like Jim, we would feel him crying behind the camera. Like
He was crying a lot.
A lot
Jim.
of crying by our DP, which is the best. Like he was he felt like a fourth person. It was heaven.
I want to give a quick shout out to Joan Shekel. She's
Yes.
an amazing. She worked with Mike Mills, Beginners, and Miranda July. She's a sort of directing guru, and she really definitely inspired this idea of directing from the feminine, receiving, allowing, letting things happen. And I just got to sit there and kind of watch it unfold.
So this is your first movie you're directing, right?
Yeah.
So what did you learn?
That was what I learned, was that I didn't really have to do much. I got to create an environment where Catherine could feel safe, where Juno could feel safe, where Jimmy, who's the DP who's here, could be there, not just film it, but feel it. That was my job, to create a place where everybody could be in feeling and let the camera record it. And since I got such funny people, it turned out to be hilarious.
Yeah, it is
And,
so funny.
actors are brilliant. They are channels for emotion. So I just tried to pull back everything, pull back production. Sometimes we didn't say action. Sometimes we didn't say rolling. Sometimes we just we waited for the actors to like get into their mode, and then I would sort of tap Jimmy, and he would, tap the cinematographer, and we'd start rolling, and the scene would play.
But also starting the day with uniting us too.
We did some uniting exercises, some movement, love,
Yeah.
some heart.
Thank you
Girl
so
power.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you. This was a fun interview.